Okay, we are live. It's another Sunday night, and it is January 26th. So this is about the time. Um, we've got February right around the corner, and usually we're done with the holidays, which are a wonderful distraction for us. A lot of winter holiday events, parties, and then January comes, and it's like wah wah wah. Not a lot going on in January. Everybody decides they want to get back to the gym. They want to start taking care of themselves. They want to start, tapping into their health when they've let it all just decline. So, hey, Happy Mac, how are you? Nice to see you in here. Welcome to a Sunday. So then January becomes this month where we want to just pick up the slack. We want, new year, new you. We hear that every year. And then we start going through that. And if you're fortunate to have made it past Quitter's Day, which is the second Friday of January, then if you're still going, congratulations, because by now we're just a little over 3 weeks in, and most people would have completely uh, given up their New Year's resolution. So this is as we come into February, and February here in the U.S., it is sort of it gets gloomy, it's blustery. We never really know what's going to happen with February, but usually it tends to be just a really gloomy, cold time. So for me, I always say, I could do without February. If I could just get out of here for, let's say, January and February every year. That is my goal, is to eventually at some point be able to winter somewhere warm. So Happy Max says tomorrow's going to be sunny and warm for me to sun my buns. Awesome. I'm a chlorophyll based human. Winter kills me. Like, for real. I'm the same way. I love the sun. I love the sunshine. And of course, that's also why we get into the winter blues, which is our topic for today. And we're going to talk today about, why is that? Why do we get into this seasonal affective disorder, seasonal depression, whatever you want to call it, the winter blues, whatever it is that you want to call it. I'm trying to center myself in my camera there. Whatever it is you want to call it, there's a metabolic reason for it. And I think that we've got to, you have to understand what the metabolic reason is for it, because then what you'll be able to do to help fuel it, so it doesn't, it's not just a thing that just happens. You can actually prevent seasonal affective disorder. Now, you can get moody and cranky during the winter, but you really need to be protecting yourself. You've got to be protecting your brain, your nervous system, your sleep, your overall lifestyle, so that it doesn't fall into a seasonal affective disorder, which is also related to bipolar disorder, and then other mood disorders. So this can actually be, a pretty significant change in your health if you're not careful. And if you're someone who struggles with anxiety, depression, bipolar throughout the rest of the year, it's even more important that you pay attention to the seasons and the change of the seasons, especially going into winter. Let me pull my notes up here. So as we go into this, I want to address the why first. So we come off of summer. I'm got a little max headroom going. I don't know if it's my camera. I'm not sure what's going on. So hopefully my audio is okay. If I've got good audio, please give me a thumbs up. And also, if you jump in here, would you please hit the like and subscribe button? I would really appreciate that. Leave a lovely comment, would be amazing. So hopefully the audio doesn't sound skippy, and maybe it's just my head every now and then. All right. So it's summertime. So first of all, in summertime, what we tend to do is, thanks, Happy Mac. What we tend to do is avoid the sun. We're told, avoid the sun. The sun is bad. You guys, we couldn't live without the sun. We would be dead without the sun. Plants would die. We all need sun. And so we're taught, it's drilled into us, the message that the sun is bad, the sun is poisonous, the sun causes cancer. And, I've done, hey, Bill, how are you? I've done multiple videos on sun and sun exposure and sunlight and the safety of sun, and of course the importance of sunlight to our health. So we have to start to move past this fear that's been drilled into us that the sun is bad. So let's just say, so first of all, here it is summer. If you're somebody who's slathering on sunscreen, covering yourself head to toe, avoiding the sun, avoiding sun exposure, you right off the gate, you're probably going to have low vitamin D levels. Now, vitamin D is a major player in this because it drives your hormones, it drives every single cell. There's a receptor for every single cell on your body. It drives your mood, it drives your health, it drives every function in your body. So vitamin D is a critical component to having good health. So when you're not getting proper sun exposure in the summer, you're not filling the tank. So vitamin D is a fat soluble vitamin. So what that means is it's actually stored in the fat tissue. So you can actually get vitamin D and have it, like I say, fill the tank. And it could take, like, if you got all your vitamin D in the summer and then you didn't get any more vitamin D exposure, it would take about 3 months to deplete that, 2 to 3 months, just depending. Everybody's metabolism is a little bit different. So you want to be able to fill the tank as best as you possibly can in the summertime. And, again, we're just talking about the lack of sun exposure at this point in time. You can go back and watch my other videos that talk about how to get good, healthy sun exposure, why, when, all of that stuff. So, but the bottom line is most of us don't get enough. Now, if you are somebody who has darker skin like myself, then I'm Lebanese, so I get a ton of sun exposure, but I don't convert as much vitamin D as somebody who has lighter skin. So somebody with lighter skin can actually spend less time in the sun and get more sun exposure than me. So if it's we're just out there for 10 minutes, a lighter person, let's say somebody who's Scandinavian, they're actually going to absorb more of those UV rays and convert more vitamin D. So you have to fill the tank. Now we get into the fall and we start to lose our sunlight. So we've lost our opportunity to fill the tank. Now what do? Then we get into healthy diets. We get into poor dietary choices. What are you eating? What aren't you eating? So we need to then make sure that we're eating foods that are rich in vitamin D. But the problem with that also is that the best way to combat the seasonal blues, seasonal affective disorder, mood disorders is with vitamin D supplementation. Well, the sun, but since you can't do that, you've got to supplement. Now, vitamin D is the RDA recommends 400 units per day. So 400 units is just enough to keep you from getting rickets, which is softening of your bones. So do you want to just not get rickets, or do you want optimized health? What studies show is that we need 3,000 to 4,000 or higher of vitamin D in order for it to be protective for other health benefits. And so that was one of the things with COVID, was that the higher your vitamin D levels were, the less likely you were to get COVID. In fact, there was a study that was done and it showed that if your vitamin D levels were over 80, your risk of COVID was like 0, and your risk of the flu is 0. In fact, they found that taking vitamin D was more effective than taking the flu shot. So vitamin D is very, very powerful. And so it can actually save us from a lot of what we're experiencing as we come into these darker months, and just the mood changes and the sleep issues. So don't miss out on the vitamin D. Now you can eat some foods that are high in vitamin D, but again, if you're not going to be able to eat as much as you should, and so I always recommend just make sure you're make sure you're supplementing. So you want to supplement with typically 5,000 or more per day, and preferably with vitamin K. Vitamin K helps take it into the bones. So we need that vitamin D into the bone. So foods that are rich in vitamin D would be any kind of oily fish, egg yolks, mushrooms. Now mushrooms are really high in vitamin D, but again, any of these foods, it's good that you're eating them because they're all pretty healthy, but any of them, you're not going to be able to eat enough of what you need to be able to get the proper dosage that you need. So, so get yourself a good high quality supplement and just eat these foods, but then make sure that you're supplementing with your vitamin D. Now, some of these foods like milk and certain cereals will say it's fortified with vitamin D. That's no good. Those are synthetic forms of D and they're not very absorbable. Fortification is not a good way to get proper nutrition. So basically fortification means that all of the nutrients have been stripped from a food or a food-like substance. Typically you'll see that in cereals and milk. And so they take all the nutrients out, they create the product, and then they put nutrients back in. Like, it makes no sense to me. So just eat pure whole foods and then supplement with that vitamin D, and stay away from anything that says fortified because it's probably a processed food as well. The other nutrient that you should be getting is magnesium. Now, magnesium is amazing for anxiety, for sleep, for mood, and magnesium can help with calming the brain, the nervous system. And again, it's really effective when it comes to sleep, because a lot of this, the way that our circadian rhythms run with wintertime is that it really throws off our sleep cycle. So magnesium's excellent for just, again, for calming the brain and calming the body. And then also I take magnesium before I go to bed at night to help calm sleep. It helps calm down the brain chatter, but and I take it in the form of a supplement at night. But other foods that are rich in magnesium would be avocado, black beans, bananas, dark chocolate, we like that, almonds, spinach, pumpkin seeds, other kinds of nuts, legumes, oily fish, again, yogurt is, excuse me, as long as it's not fortified, the yogurt, and make sure that it's full fat yogurt and that it's unsweetened. So I just made my own yogurt. I've been making my own yogurt for a few months now, and I do it half a gallon or a gallon at a time. It gives me a nice big quart jar, maybe sometimes a quart and a pint, and it's lovely. And I make it from real high quality organic milk, and then I strain it so it's like thick Greek yogurt. It's really, really, really wonderful. So you can do yogurt, but just make sure it's not fortified. Hi, Carol. Welcome in. Nice to see you on the channel. So Happy Max says, true, can't change anyone's mind. Sun bad, sun bad. Yeah. Regular moderate sun exposure prevents cancer. Vitamin D and sun exposure is protective of cancer, period. The studies are just, there's just too many to dispute. So indisputable, that would be the word I'm looking for. So yeah, so we got to get the vitamin D naturally, and then magnesium, and of course we're all typically deficient in most minerals, and magnesium is one of those minerals that we're mostly deficient in. So the other nutrient that you would want to be getting is foods rich in omega-3 fatty acids, and again, protective of the brain and the nervous system, helps to calm. They're very anti-inflammatory. Our diets in the US tend to be very high in omega-6 fatty acids, which is very inflammatory. And so we really need to be eating more omega-3 fatty acids, which are anti-inflammatory. Now, if you look that up, you'll see that, again, it's going to be mostly fish, sardines, herring, mackerel, all these, very small fish. And then you'll see beef, but it needs to be grass-fed beef. So grass-fed beef is high in omega-3 fatty acids, but typically conventional beef is going to be high in omega-6, which is inflammatory. Now, you'll also see that milk and cereals will be fortified with those B vitamins. Again, you're not going to, if you're eating cereal, I'm just going to tell you to stop. But if you're eating cereal, you're not eating it for the vitamins. I promise you that. It's not, you're not getting much out of it. So you'll want to avoid that. And so we've got vitamin D, omegas, magnesium, and B vitamins. So those would be like your top nutrients that you're looking for, but really, really prioritizing that vitamin D. The next thing for our mood and to help improve our just our overall wellness, our mental wellness through these winter months is making sure you're exercising. Movement is always a it's always a benefit. So the more you can move your body, the more it will help. Again, brain, it sounds like a broken record, but we have to protect our brains. We have to protect our bodies, get your blood flowing. It helps detoxify the body. Just moving in general helps to, flush unwanted things from the body. So movement is really important. And when we think about movement, this is also where I really encourage you to don't exercise at home. I mean, if that's your only option, that's great. But if you can get out and be in a group, take group classes, get connected with a community of people, that also creates some accountability. And when you have accountability and you're making friendships and you're forming those connections with people, that actually will be more inspiring to you to be able to continue to go. So, if people are looking forward to seeing you and you don't really feel like going, or you're looking forward to seeing people, that actually will help you get up and go. So, a lot of people are like, oh, it's easier to do at home. I totally get that. But oftentimes having a community of people is really, really powerful. So I do encourage you to get out and do that. Outside, I'm not a big outside person when it comes to the cold. So I'm definitely an inside person. I go to the gym. I go at the same time. And so I have that community of people. And then I go to yoga a couple of times a week. I go to the same classes, the same time of classes. And so again, I have created a community of people, and it's amazing. I go and I do weights and I do cardio. And then when I'm in yoga, it's a whole different kind of workout, if you will. It's, it really helps with my mobility and it helps with my mood. It just is, and I'm detoxifying again. So really find some kind of exercise that you'll be able to stick with, that you'll be able to feel good about doing. And you won't always be motivated or inspired, but again, if you have like an accountability partner or an accountability group, that is really beneficial for creating the discipline that you'll need to continue to go, especially when it's super cold out. Nobody's motivated to get up and go outside when it's super cold. Bill says, I get good sunshine in the summer, but this time of year I do take vitamin D, or perhaps sometime in the sun in the South, maybe Central or South America. Okay, if you go, I'm coming in with you. Yes. Hey, CR, how are you? Nice to see you. Yes, just walking briskly. Like today I want to say it was about 30 degrees today and the sun was shining. And I could have gone out for a walk, but I didn't want to. I just didn't. I moved my body in yoga. I was fine. So Carol asks, is there a good vitamin D that absorbs good? So I'm not sure if you're talking about a brand, but my favorite brand is Metagenics. I'll drop it right here for you. And Metagenics are, that's 20% off through January 31st. So I'll show you the one I prescribed for my patients here. And yeah, a lot of people they'll come in and they'll go, say, oh, it was 2-for-1 sale at CVS on vitamin D. And I'm like, oh gosh. And typically it's, you just don't know the quality of it. You don't know how it was made. Where's the D3 with K? Here's the 10,000. There it is right there. Okay. They've got a few. They've got a 10,000. Now, let me go back to vitamin D for a minute. I do have some things that I want to cover, but I do want to address this here. There you go, Carol. That's the link to my online store. And again, everything's on sale, 20% off site wide through January 31st. So you can order all the things. So with vitamin D, it is recommended that you're taking at least 5,000 a day. Oftentimes, if people are low, their doctors will prescribe like a a 50,000 unit D, like one 50,000 per week. But that's usually a prescription. D is usually D2, so it's usually synthetic, so it doesn't really absorb very well. And the usable form is D3, so you want D3. The other thing with that is that the traditional labs will show that the bottom number for D is usually around 20 or 25, maybe 30. It depends on the lab. But if you're down in that level, you are low. So if somebody comes into me and says, yeah, my vitamin D is low, I know they are under that already low lab range, and that can get very dangerous. So when you look at your vitamin D, you want your D levels up over 75. So that's where you should know your D number. If your doctor says it's fine, fine isn't a number, find out the number, and you can do, like let's say it's 40, still way too low. So you can always do like, I have the 5,000 with K, but I'll do like 10,000 one day, 5,000 the next day. I'm still taking a lot, and I spend a lot of time in the sun. Again, it's, you get to this time of year and I can recognize that, I'm tired. I'm not sleeping as well. My body is struggling. So I really need to support it nutritionally, and you should too. So keep that in mind, that if you are, if you've been told your D is low, get the number, because I think I had one patient ever in 27 years that her D was in a range that was above 75. So, we have to really take better care of ourselves than that. Okay. So I wanted to go back. I want to make sure I address that with the vitamin D. We talked about workouts, light exposure. So with light exposure, obviously it's dark earlier. So here's what happens. The way our hormones work. So cortisol is a hormone. We've all heard of cortisol. Cortisol tends to get a little demonized because if we have too much cortisol, we can put us under stress, or meaning like if we're under stress, we spike our cortisol. And then cortisol can be responsible for that 2 a.m. wake up, meaning if you, I think if anybody has the 2 a.m. wake up, they know what I'm talking about. But what it typically means is when the adrenals don't know what to do, cortisol comes from the adrenals. And when the adrenals don't know what to do because you're stressing them out all day, the adrenals can fire off a shot of cortisol in the middle of the night, and boom, you are wide awake. And it takes about 2 hours to go back to sleep. And that's typically about how long it takes for the cortisol to leave the body. So what we want to be doing is we want cortisol to be coming down and calming, and then melatonin naturally should be coming up when it starts to get dark. This is how your body's supposed to work. So cortisol will come up in the morning and start to wake you up, and then melatonin will go down because melatonin is your sleep hormone. So then we go through the course of the day, and cortisol is going to do this. And hopefully cortisol doesn't spike too much during the day. It can during some stressful things. But then as it starts to get a little darker, then melatonin's going to be like, oh, okay. Melatonin starts to wake up. Melatonin wants to rise, and cortisol should go down. Now, I'm sitting here in front of my computer. I've got a light on. It's just a lamp, but it's not like a bright light in my face. I think that also might be what's screwing up the, I don't think it's the proper, Let's see if I can screw up my eyes here. Oh. Yeah, I don't have anywhere to plug my light in. Anyway, but all this light is shining in my eyes, which means I'm actually suppressing my melatonin. But when I'm done with this live cast, I'm shutting off I'm going to shut this off, shut the light off there. I'll go into my room. The light will be kind of dim. I do want to read a little bit, so I'll have the light up enough so that I can still read. But the more light you have blasting into your eyes, the more you're going to prevent that melatonin from coming up. So we want to be able to go to bed and wake up around the same time every day, but we want to protect that as well. So the magnesium is going to help calm us. And then if you need to take melatonin, you can. But oftentimes I've actually found that people can have really interesting effects with melatonin. Melatonin's not always the problem. The problem is these lights blasting in our eyes, the stress you've experienced during the days, the crappy diet that you're eating, the lack of hydration. It's, getting it, maybe going to bed and doing some deep breathing, maybe meditating before you go to bed, taking a hot bath. Oftentimes it's not melatonin, it's all of these outside influences that we're allowing to disrupt the melatonin. So melatonin can actually do what it needs to do if you're doing what you need to do. So I hope that makes sense. I feel like melatonin is not, people hear about it and like, I'm just going to take melatonin. And oftentimes it actually can have a counter effect. So, you would want to test for the melatonin, but you also want to evaluate the other things in your life to make sure, are you properly taking care of yourself so that your melatonin can actually come up the way it needs to. So let's see. Happy Mac says, I do the 2 a.m. thing 4 out of 7 nights. Yeah, that's your adrenals having a party. They're like, Yahoo, let's get going. Sorry about that. So you can do deep breathing before you go to bed. You could do like a guided meditation. Anytime you can do something to calm your nervous system. Happy Mac, I can't remember if you were on last week's live, but go back and watch last week's Sunday night, because I talked about resetting the nervous system, resetting the vagus nerve, helping your body go from fight or flight, from that chronic stress into rest, digest, and repair, and being able to calm the nervous system so you can sleep, so that you can think clearly, you can be creative, and you're not constantly under a state of stress. And it can really help with sleep. There are some herbs that can help with that, but again, I'm always like, I think like passion flower is helpful. Lavender can help, even diffusing lavender. So I really am, I'm a big proponent of figure out all the things that you can do first, behavior wise, before you go to taking the I'm going to say the melatonin, because I still think that your B vitamins, your magnesium, those are really important, but melatonin is one of those that you can really you can mess yourself up a little bit. So yeah, yes, please go back and watch. I think it'll be helpful for you. And this, this is sort of like these two are very much related, today's episode and last week's episode. So, last week's episode was battling chronic stress. And for chronic stress, if we're under chronic stress, we're actually going to get, put ourselves more at risk for the winter blues. So light exposure, I think I saw, Carol, I think, was that you that said you got a light? Somebody said they got a light thingy. There are a lot of different lights that you can use. So we would, yes, seeing the sun helps for sure. We had a sunny day today. We've had a couple of sunny days this week. It does. It makes a huge difference. It's the light exposure, and then it's the light coming into your eyes. So you can definitely get, there's light panels. There's actually even, and this was interesting as I was researching for last week's show, and I didn't get a chance to talk about it because I didn't know enough about it. I'm just going to mention it really quick because I still haven't dove into it. But apparently there are apps on your phone, and the apps will change the light to be the right spectrum that you need for your eyes to help with your mood and your brain health and seasonal affective disorder. Now, again, kind of like I'm taking that with a little grain of salt until I do a little more research on that, because there's also, this thing is one giant electromagnetic field. So I struggle with that. I'm like, but do you want to be staring at the electromagnet and, in the orbit of the electromagnetic field? I don't know. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. So yeah, but there are a lot of different types of light panels that you can use. And I don't, again, I've seen them. I don't know enough about them to know like which ones are good, which ones are not good. So I don't have a recommendation for you, but there certainly are different ways to get more light and you through some other devices, and then like I say, including your phone. But I definitely would, look more into um, just other daily lifestyle habits and things that you're doing that could be helpful, that can help you calm down. You know, Eating too late that's always a big one. And I know for me too, like, and especially for women, and Happy Mac, I know, I know it's not you, but especially for women, you can have a blood sugar issue. So depending on how early you eat in the day, like when you stop eating at night, if you can have like a spike in blood sugar too in the middle of the night. So sometimes what I'll do, like if I had my last meal at like 4 or 5 in the afternoon, I'm like on the early bird special there. I might have like a bowl of yogurt with some blueberries and a little drizzle of maple syrup or something, like around 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock or so. And it really does help to mellow out my blood sugar. And I usually sleep really well at that point too. So that's just a quick recommendation. And yes, Bill, it was so nice seeing the sun. It really does make a difference, especially with these cold days. As long as we can see the sun, we're doing well, right? Um, Okay, so there's full spectrum light bulbs that you can get, so you can replace the bulbs around your house. But again, as it gets darker, you really want things more dim, because you want your body to start to release release the melatonin to come up and start bringing the cortisol down. You can get sunrise alarm clocks, so that's where they will gradually start to brighten. I um, I had a tree in my front yard. It's been here. I've been in my house 23 years. It was a big, beautiful birch tree, and most of it was, I don't have a curtain. My window in my room is up high, and I don't have a curtain there because I get that sunlight coming in from the east, and it wakes me up naturally. And it's so lovely when you can be woken up naturally like that. You don't have to wake up from an alarm clock. Well, there was a storm last summer, and the whole root ball, the whole tree gone. We are heartbroken. This big, beautiful birch tree is gone. I did not realize how much light that tree filters out. So, meaning, in the middle, like it's now bright in my room in the middle of the night, and I'm like, wait a minute, like its canopy was just so perfect. So now I actually do need to put a curtain up. I won't close it all the way, but I'll close it some of the way, because I think that's affecting my sleep, that I lost the tree. It was the perfect amount of filtered light coming in the bedroom, and now it's just too much through the night. So it looks like Carol has trouble in the middle of the night as well. So start to think about, like I say, those nutrients, and then of course some meditation, some deep breathing before you go to bed. Let's see, let me go back to, going back to this environmental adjustments. That's why I was talking about the curtains. So opening the blinds and the curtains to maximize your daylight. If you sleep with blackout curtains, that can make getting up really difficult. Yes, it helps with sleep. This is also one of those recommendations that I always struggled with, because I'm like, okay, well, you can pull the blackout curtain, but then at what point do you allow natural light to come in to start waking you up? Like we need that. So I'm not 100% a fan of full blackout in the room, although some experts will tell you, yes, you should black out your room when you sleep. I just don't know how I'm going to wake up and feel refreshed. So, and I have yet to get that kind of information that says that, oh yeah, but you'll wake up and feel better. You'll sleep better for sure, but I still think you need to, have some light peeking in your room. So, let's see what else. Plants. So putting plants around, plants can really be helpful when, just as far as the mood goes. They just bring, they're great for oxygen as well, but they also they just create a mood. They're just, for me, it feels like I'm bringing the outside in when I have plants around. So, make, kind of anything to boost the mood there. Let's see what else is on my notes here. Just going through here. Um, just be respectful of your circadian rhythm. So now that you know, it is starting to get a little lighter, little later. So that's good, or stay lighter a little later. But I think it's important to be respectful of the circadian rhythm. And I talked about this back in the fall when we started to, change the seasons, time zone, or not time zone, time changes, daylight saving time, all of that, is that, it gets darker earlier and we don't respect that. Like we still want to drive ourselves like it's the middle of summer and it's light until 10 o'clock and we have all the energy in the world. And so what happens is we just don't respect what our bodies need. So understand that slowing down is okay. Like it's okay. Like, and you are going to feel a little bit less energetic. It's winter. This is why animals hibernate. I mean, think about that. And as humans, we're the only ones that don't respect that. So it's okay to take a little time. It's okay to take your foot off the gas. It's okay to just give yourself some grace and say, yeah, maybe I can't do as much in the winter. Maybe I do need to just kind of back down a little bit. Animals do it instinctively, but we just want to drive ourselves into the ground. We got to keep working. So let's see here. Carol, are the winter lights good for winter? I don't know what a winter light is. If I look that up, would I find it? I'm not sure. I've not heard of that. Waking up 1 minute before the alarm clock rings is so nice. Same. I know. I usually set my alarm clock and I wake up 15 to 30 minutes before it. And then I'm like, that was so much better. So yeah. Badger balm is helpful. So I think that's the Badger balm is the lavender. They have like a sleep balm. That's really nice. I used to use that on my daughter when she was little, younger, having trouble sleeping. So yeah, I will look up the winter light, but I think I'm going to guess, I'm going to completely speculate that the idea behind something like that is to give you a spectrum of light that feeds your brain and your nervous system in order to keep you healthy through the winter. That's my thought. There's all different kinds of colors of lights. There's all different kinds of spectrums of lights, and we need them at different times of the year. So, and at different times of the day. And that's where too, this light, this is all artificial. This is all coming at me. This is not good for me. It's not healthy for me. But I'm here for you guys. But that's what you have to think about is like, this is all man-made, built, and we're overriding our nervous system and our brain's ability to do what it needs to do. So all of these kinds of lights, you can have like your red lights, your for healing. You can get these winter lights you're talking about. But if you're still doing this thing and you're still looking at your phone and you're still watching TV and you still have all the lights on in your house and it's 6:41, it's pitch dark outside, it doesn't serve you. And also being mindful that like certain spectrums of light are good for certain times of the day. So because it's called a winter light doesn't mean that you should be having it on at 8 o'clock at night. I don't know, speculating, because I don't know what that is. But that's how some of the other lights work, is that you don't want to use that. You want to use them maybe in the morning or maybe only in the evening, but you can't use them at certain times of the day because then they're counteracted because your brain, that's not the spectrum of light your brain wants for that particular time of day. And I don't remember all the timing and the spectrums, but I do know that you need certain spectrums of light through certain times of the day, which is also why in the middle of the day, it's important if you can go outside and get some sunlight, that actually like get that light to your eyes. That's why, I did a video on sunglasses, that we wear sunglasses too much and we're not allowing that good light to filter into our eyes and our brain. That's a really important exposure as well. So if you can go out in the middle of the day and just get some good sunlight exposure for 5 minutes in the dead of winter, that's also super good for you too. So, again, a lot of gadgets that we can buy, but what are all the natural things within our environment that we can start to tap into that, that's going to make more sense just to make some adaptations in our environment. So, Ken says, hi, Ken, is it good to have a red light in your bedroom? So that, again, that's one of those things. And I'm assuming you're talking about like red light therapy. So and there's different types of red lights. And I'm sure, I don't know what you have, but certain red lights have different spectrums as well. So you would want to look that up and look at the wavelength of it and then see when is the best time for your body to have that particular spectrum of red light. So that's how you want to tap into the lights that you're using. So even same for that winter light, Carol, what's the spectrum of light that it's giving off? And then look up what are the best times of day for your body to be being exposed to that spectrum. Yeah, hope that makes sense, guys. Ken says thank you, so I'm hoping it does. And I track my sleep. I have my Aura ring. I just took it off because I don't like to sit too long when I have it on, because then it tells my phone that I'm being lazy. So I just took it off there. So hey, Haig, how are you? Nice to see you. So track your sleep if you can. I do like the ring better. I don't like watches. I love watches. I don't like fitness watches. They're cumbersome. I don't like sleeping with a watch. So I barely like sleeping with that ring, but it's much better. And it's really amazing how much data I get from it. And then I can really dial in my sleep. I can dial in my exercise. I can dial in my stress. It does have a stress component to it. So it'll tell me like if my heart rate went up. So it's kind of like my checks and balance, right? It's my accountability partner, which is really awesome. So, if you have a fitness tracker, if you're somebody that uses like an Apple Watch or something like that, make sure you're using it. Make sure you're really looking at the data. My tracker connects with, because I also use my Fitness Pal to track my food and all my nutrients. And so this syncs into that as well. So I feel like I've got this really great system going. So I'm evaluating food, I'm evaluating movement and sleep and stress, and I can really optimize. It's just a really great way to stay optimized for everything. So yeah, I had a day last week. I must have like caught a bug or something, because I was up from like 12:15 to 4, could not fall asleep. And at some point in there, I took the ring off because I was like, oh, I know it's just going to tell me that I had a terrible night's sleep. And fortunately, the next day was Wednesday, and I don't go into the office on Wednesdays, and I was just going to be home working on the computer. And I just stayed in my pajamas all day. So I don't know. It was weird. Just kind of, I felt run down, but it's also interesting, again, paying attention that something was disrupting my body and my sleep. And, normally I would have gone to the gym on Wednesday, but again, that's where like, give yourself some grace, make sure you're listening to your body. If your body is telling you that and you don't sleep well, then maybe you don't go to the gym. Maybe you just rest your brain, rest your body. And that's what I did. And, within a couple of days, I felt better. So anyway, what other questions do you guys have? So this is really a great topic because, again, when we're trying to talk about seasonal affective disorder, preventing the winter blues, making sure your nutrients are on deck, making sure you still have good movement. And it's a lot harder. It's so much harder in the winter. But, that's where making sure you have some kind of accountability for what you're doing, just that's really a key component. It's a partner or somebody that you're having to depend on or that's depending on you. And even if it's for food, so maybe it's your spouse, or so, a partner that it's food driven. So, hey, we're going to eat healthy. We're going to meal prep. Maybe or maybe it's your neighbor, your best friend or something. Hey, let's get together and meal prep on Sundays. Things like that. Like, really working to make sure that you're taking care of your nutritional health, you're taking care of your mental health, you're being super mindful of your sleep. Our sleep it's our number one thing that we have to protect. And yet we really do tend to not give it the attention it needs. So our phones should be far enough away. They say put your phone in the other room and get yourself a regular alarm clock is, typically what you're told to do is get the phone out of your bedroom because of the EMFs coming off of it. And again, if sleep is something that you're really struggling with, I would encourage you, if you have to use it for your alarm clock, then just maybe put it across the room so it forces you to get up. But you've got to get those EMFs away from your head and your brain. Really, really important. So let's see. Carol says, sorry, same question about lights. Which question? Did I answer it already, Carol? Let me know. Because I know lights can be a little confusing, and there's a lot out there. And those lights they're expensive. There's cheap ones and there's expensive ones. And how do you know they work? So also that's why tonight's episode is really just to say, let's do as much inexpensive things as we possibly can. Figure out the lifestyle piece of it and the exposure, what's changing up the hormones, what's causing you to have these disruptions, and then making sure that you're handling those first. Now, another thing too, I'll talk about gratitude in a second. I'm saying that out loud so I don't forget. So CR says oversleeping can be a thing too. So oversleeping is interesting. Yes, you can have too little sleep and you can have too much sleep. And typically somewhere in the ballpark of 7 to 9 hours is what has been shown to be healthy. If you're sleeping more than 9, 10 hours, more than 10 hours, 12 hours, something like that, that tends to get into like the exhaustion phase. That's like in the depression phase. That is when you don't have the energy. That's typically what we call a mitochondrial issue. So your cells are not producing the level of energy that you need. It's a complete hormonal disruption. So yes, oversleeping can definitely be a thing. It's just as alarming to oversleep as it is to undersleep. And, people will still get up because they have to function, still have to go to work, still have to take care of the kids. But when there's simple fixes, then, that's when, let's just try to fix what we can. Let's do the simple, easy things and get that under control. So then the last thing that I'll leave you with is gratitude, especially when you've got depression, anxiety, you just really want to get outside. This is, again, we've got seasonal affective issues, the winter blues, the blahs, whatever you want to call them. And gratitude does so much to allow you to see all the good things in your life. And if we don't have gratitude, gratitude gives us something to look forward to. So if you're having, again, winter blues, winter blahs, and all you're seeing around you is blues and blahs, you're going to see more of that. So making sure every night before you go to bed, grab yourself a journal, write down, something that you're grateful for. Write down something that you're grateful for the next day. Project your future. Even just writing in the journal and just saying, tomorrow will be an amazing day. Give your brain something to look forward to, because again, these months can be very daunting. And so it's really becomes mind over matter. If you say what is it? What does Henry Ford say? If you say you can, you're right. If you say you can't, you're right. Something like that. So, your brain will hear, your brain will manifest what you're giving it. So give it good things. Think about good things. Thoughts go very far. And there's another phrase that says, energy goes where thoughts flow. So do you want your energy going into more positive practices, or do you want your energy going into, if you wake up and it's, gloomy, are you going to let gloom ruin your day? Oh God, it's gloomy. We wake up, it's so easy to get into that narrative. Or, oh my God, tomorrow's going to be another crummy day. I just know it. All of you predictors out there, you just know it's going to be a horrible day. Like, just stop. That's all I have to say to you. Just stop. Because you don't know that it's going to be a horrible day. Or if you're telling yourself it is going to be a horrible day, then if you just know it, then guess what? It is going to be a horrible day. You can easily declare to yourself, tomorrow is going to be an amazing day. I can just feel it. And I promise you start saying that to yourself, things will start to happen, and you're going to be like, did that really happen? Like, it is so cool when you start declaring goodness over your life and you start seeing little tiny, I don't know if you want to call them miracles or just, serendipitous moments and just little tiny things that start to flow into your world when you start to declare goodness. So that is really one of the best things we can ever do for our mental health, is just keep declaring goodness over your days, over your life. You wake up, the waking up on the wrong side of the bed thing. There's no bad days. There's only bad moments. And it's humans that choose to take a bad moment and make it a bad day. And if you can recognize that, your world will change forever. Your energy will change. The people around you will change. The circumstances around you will change. So really start to tap into gratitude, daily gratitude practice. CR says, tomorrow will be sunny. I love that. It's a good declaration. And you know what? If it's cloudy where you are, CR, all you have to do is add the word somewhere. Tomorrow will be sunny somewhere, right? So Carol says, yes, I do that. I sit on the front porch with my pup and enjoy the sun. I love it. It's great. Yes. Gotcha. Thank you. Okay, good. I hope I answered your question about that. Dr. Paulo will have a great Monday. Yes, I will. I've already declared it. I've been declaring it since Friday. So yes, thank you, CR. I appreciate that. Yeah, a lot of fun stuff going on this week. So I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to a wonderful, productive week. I've got a couple of people and organizations that I'm connecting with that, I'm really looking forward to all the fun things that are coming my way this week. So, and I'm not just saying it. So it's going to be a great week. I just know it, right? Who's declaring it with me? Did everybody hit that thumbs up button when they jumped in? I hope so. Let me jump over here real quick. And don't forget, down in the show notes, there is a link for you to join the newsletter. And there's also a link to the Full Script store. But for now, I'm going to drop it one more time. I'm just going to drop the main Metagenics website. And I do believe there might be a protocol in here for immune function. And let's put this in here. Like I said, the Metagenics is 20% off through January 31st. So don't miss out on that. They never do that. I usually have you go through my Full Script account, but Metagenics is like, Yeah, I've never seen this before, you guys. I'm telling you. I've been using their products for 25 years, 27, 6, something like that, since about 2000. What is that? 25 years. And I've never seen them put the whole site on sale. So it is a deal. It's a deal for you. So make sure you take advantage of that and get good, high quality products. So happy Mac. Thank you and have a great and sunny week. You as well, my friend. All right, you guys, thanks so much for being here. Appreciate it. We are going to be live on Thursday. Chiropractic is Sexy on our own channel. So let me, you know what? Can I do that? Let me go to, I think I can. I think I can change channels on YouTube and go here. Okay. So if you all would do me a favor, that is the Chiropractic is Sexy channel. Please go there, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. We're going to be live for the first time on our new channel on Thursday. So, all right, you guys, that is it for me. And thank you so much, Carol. I appreciate it. Okay, you guys, have an amazing week. I know you all will. So we'll see you on Thursday for a live stream. Okay, talk to you soon.